What's going on, everybody? It's Nick with Facemask Fantasy, coming at you with my favorite bargain tight ends to draft in 2024. I only ask that you consider liking the video and subscribing if you enjoy what you hear. As you're probably familiar with the tight end position, it's a popular one to punt in drafts to try and identify cheap value. This is due to historical volatility. Outside of the top tight ends, there's a lot of peaks and valleys. It's not uncommon for a player to come out of some amount of obscurity and have a strong season, only for them to get drafted much higher the following year and fall short of expectations. That's because so many of them are dependent on scoring touchdowns when it comes to delivering for fantasy purposes, and touchdowns are random. The approach to the position is a little different this year. For the past couple of seasons, Travis Kelce has been a first-round pick in drafts, followed up with the likes of Mark Andrews, Darren Waller, and George Kittle a round or two later. After that, it was pretty much a complete crapshoot. The landscape has changed this year, though, with players targeting more options earlier. Kelce's ADP has fallen to the late third, early fourth round after falling short of massive expectations in 2023. And now he's not even the tight end one being drafted. That honor belongs to second-year player Sam Laporta on the back of a 10-touchdown season for the Lions. After these two, Andrews is getting drafted in the late fourth, early fifth, along with two more emerging players in Trey McBride and Dalton Kincaid. So, almost half of your league will be securing their tight end much earlier than in years past. You yourself could go this route, but holding off will also give you even more flexibility to wait on the position because it's unlikely your league mates will take a second tight end after spending a top 60 pick on a starter. That would just be bad logistics. This development will shrink the demand for bargains at the end of the draft, which allows you to load up on studs at running back and wide receiver early on. So, with that, here are some of my favorite options to roll the dice on with ADPs outside the top 100. Number one is the Packers' Luke Musgrave. His numbers don't really pop after last year, partially because he missed 6 weeks to injury. On top of that, he's naturally flying under the radar with all of the young ascending talent Green Bay has at wide receiver. But don't forget, he was the team's second-round pick last year, a high one at that, and their other young tight end, Tucker Kraft, is nursing a pec injury that might hold him out into training camp. That gives Musgrave an opportunity to separate himself as the clear top option at the position in an offense that many expect to take another step forward after an impressive playoff run to end last season. Musgrave's ADP of 150 on Underdog Fantasy means he's a great target in one of the final two rounds of your draft, and being attached to this offense makes him an easy, no-risk bargain to take a chance on. Number two is Ty Conklin. The Jets didn't address tight end in the draft or free agency. At wide receiver, they added the talented but off-injured Mike Williams, and they drafted Malachi Corley in the third round. That leaves Conklin atop the depth chart in a Jets offense that will get Aaron Rodgers back and is thin on proven pass-catching talent after Garrett Wilson. In a horrendous offense led by Zach Wilson in 2023, Conklin was still able to put up 61 catches for 621 yards. But he didn't catch a touchdown, so his stock is way down with an early ADP of 177. You can easily wait until the last round of your draft to take a chance on a starter who could easily be third in the pass-catching pecking order any given week for an offense that should be much better with Rodgers returning in 2024. Number three is Isaiah Likely, who would be higher on this list if he was the bona fide starter, but then again, he wouldn't be a bargain to target if he were. Likely has proven to simply be too talented for the Ravens to keep on the sideline, even with a healthy Mark Andrews. Consequently, we might have to take a wait-and-see approach to see how Baltimore deploys both of their tight ends early on. But after Zay Flowers, there's not a lot of proven talent in their wide receiver room. It would make a lot of sense for Baltimore to get Andrews and Likely on the field at the same time as much as they can in 2024, which would make Likely's ADP of 180 an incredible bargain. He caught 5 touchdowns in Andrews' absence last year, so on top of his not-so-sneaky value now, he ascends to a top 5 option in the event Andrews has to miss time. Number 4 is Hunter Henry, who has the starting job all to himself after splitting work in 2023 with Mike Gesicki and 2022 with Jonnu Smith. He only cleared 400 yards receiving in a brutal Patriots offense in 2023, but he caught 6 touchdowns, and the quarterback play should be much better this year, whether it's Jacoby Brissett or rookie Drake May under center. The Patriots aren't particularly strong at wide receiver, with all due respect to ascending talent Demario Douglas. New England should find themselves in the red zone more in 2024 than they did in 2023, which puts Henry squarely in the bargain crosshairs with an ADP of 160. Austin Hooper is looming as a potential vulture, but he hasn't been as consistent a producer as guys like Gesicki and Jonnu. Consider Henry as a solid late-round bargain as a guy who should easily command most of the work at the position for New England. My final bargain is way off the radar in Bills tight end Dawson Knox. Knox fell down the depth chart in 2023 after Buffalo drafted the aforementioned Dalton Kincaid, who has ascended as the clear-cut starter. Knox also missed time last year, not just due to injury during the season, but he also dealt with the untimely death of his brother over the summer. So Knox was dealing with some truly horrible off-field challenges that likely affected him to some degree. Fast forward to 2024, and Buffalo has said goodbye to last year's starting receivers in Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. Khalil Shakir figures to operate as the team's de facto wide receiver 1, and they added Curtis Samuel and Keon Coleman in free agency and the draft, respectively. But it wasn't too long ago that Knox was a favorite red zone target of Josh Allen's. And now with so much transition, it's not crazy to think Knox could reemerge as that red zone threat, which would make him an intriguing streamer in favorable matchups. He's probably not a guy you draft in 10 or 12 team leagues. But as we get a couple weeks into the season and start identifying matchups that are favorable for tight ends, Knox is worth keeping on the radar for those situations. These are some of my favorite late-round flyers at tight end to take a chance on in 2024. What do you guys think? Put any thoughts you have in the comment section below, and we can have a conversation about this. Till then, this is Nick with Facemask Fantasy. Thanks for listening.